Hello Glam Squad, welcome back to the channel and happy Pokemon Day. We're going to go ahead and celebrate Pokemon Day with a quick tutorial. Not really a tutorial. As you may know, I am trying to increase my hand painting skill, and today I'm going to tackle that by drawing ever so wonky Pikachu. Now Pikachu is yellow, and I thought for this particular purpose, it was just going to be easier for me to draw him on a yellow nail and complete the look in a different way, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. So what we're going to do is come in and make his eyes. One thing I did want to point out real quick, guys, is that I have not sped this up at all. Normally my videos are double time, but this one is just normal speed. I wanted you to see exactly how I'm doing it. I do cut out all the cure times and all that nonsense because it really did take me like 25 minutes to draw him, because there's a lot of mistakes, and I, like cleaned things off and tried again and blah, blah, blah. But I just showed you the good parts, right? But it is in real time because I wanted you to see exactly what I'm doing and not have to be rewinding and going, oh, that's so fast, I can't tell what she's doing. So just for this one, at least just for this one, we're going to go ahead and just do it at normal time. So his eyes are just 2 dots, and we'll finish his eyes in a bit. And then his nose is the tiniest of little triangles. And then you come down and make 2 really wide sort of U shapes, just sort of a swoosh, but you just nice and thin. At first it kind of looks like a kitty cat mouth right there, but then you're going to bring it back around into almost a half circle, but not quite, kind of a U shape. Okay guys, I watched a ton of different tutorials on how to draw him, and if you want a better tutorial, there are a ton out there. Just go look it up and go see all the talented artists that are helping people learn how to draw. I watched so many, I wouldn't even know who to shout out because there's just so many that I watched. I spent about 2 days practicing this. There's papers and papers of some of my Pokemon looked super evil, so maybe we'll do an evil Pokemon one day because it looks super scary, but I just had a good time trying to practice and get the feeling of drawing it, because then, excuse me, once you do it on the nail, it's going to feel a little different than drawing with a pen or a pencil. So I just wanted to have the feeling of it, and I probably watched like 7 or 8 different people show me how to do it, and everyone had their own technique. So you go watch and see whose technique you like the most. Check out how everybody does it, and I bet you'll find that it's a little easier than you think, right? So now once we have his face, and I'm sorry, I was talking when I did that bottom part of his mouth. That's just a U shape that connects right there at the middle of the other U's, okay? Now we're going to make the side of his face, and it starts right about at the middle of his eye and comes down to right underneath his mouth, but we're not going to connect it at the bottom. Just going in part ways. I'm actually having a really good time watching people and learning how to draw these little figures, because when you do it correctly and you realize it's just a series of shapes and a series of curves and a series of lines that connect together to make these pictures. Right here I'm making a mistake, you guys. I'm not putting his eyebrows. And at the end you'll see he does have eyebrows, but they're too close to the top of his head. And I actually realized he didn't have eyebrows off camera, and without thinking what I was doing, I threw eyebrows on him, and while they were curing I went, oh, I should have done that on camera and snuck the footage in. But I'm just going to come clean and let you know that he will have eyebrows at the end, even though they're too close. And I did mess this up here, and that does make his face a little more wonky. But that's part of the learning process. But I didn't want you to see at the end he's got eyebrows and be like, she didn't make the eyebrows and she didn't tell us and blah, blah. No, you know I'm going to just be honest with you guys. I made a mistake, totally screwed it up, but that's okay. That's what the learning is about, is just having a good time. So now his ears are kind of like rabbit ears, but not quite as round, a little more pointy. And they do have a little black part at the top. And this one, you're not going to be able to do the entire black part, but you'll be able to make it a little bit to give the sense of it. Because I made one of his ears go a little bit crooked to the side, because Pikachu's ears aren't always straight up. Sometimes one's a little to the side. And I don't know a ton about Pokemon, but I feel like that might be something to do with like an emotional response to things. If you're into Pokemon and I'm correct about that, let me know. And sometimes it's way more cocked to the side than that. And here you go on the other one. I'm going to come in and put that little black section on his ear. Excuse me. And then I'm just going to fill it in. The black that we're using is Model 1's cream gel. His eyes, I just used the regular gel polish because you really want it to make that puddle, and the cream gel leaves kind of a point on it, and I don't like that. So I just use the regular polish if I'm using a dotting tool, but they match in color, so it's okay. And then once you get top coat on, you don't really notice. And we're going to do one more step at the end, so you're not, it actually all ends up looking pretty cute, even though, again, I will admit, my Pikachu's a little bit wonky. Okay, now that's his body. Excuse me, he should have been a little thicker. I think Pikachu's a tiny bit thicker than that, but you know, maybe he had a rough month and he lost a couple pounds. I don't know. Maybe he got the flu. So now we're going to come in and make his arms, and his arms are actually really simple because they're just 2 lines. And then at the end for his hands, you do some little zigzags. That's literally all his hands are. His hands are kind of the easiest part to do, except that it's really tiny. So I don't put as many zigzags as he really does have. I think he's got 4, and this side's got 3, and the other side I think I only do 2. Because it is, you know, I suppose I could use a finer, like one of those brushes that's like barely 1 or 2 hairs. I think I'm going to have to invest in one of those, or maybe a few of those, because even as small as this brush is, or as thin as it is, sometimes it's just a little thicker than what I want to do, right? So the right brush for the right job. So now I'm making a little line in there for his tongue. And even though I do put a little pink for his tongue and then red, darker red at the top for the inside of his mouth, they end up really blending together, and you don't actually see that big of a difference between the colors, but it's okay. It's okay. And then red dots for his cheeks, and I'm going to do it and then come back in and do it twice to make it a little wider, put a little more color in there. There we go. A little more. And I'm thinking, no, a little more. Need a little more. There we go. I like that better. A little bit bigger cheeks. Little happy cheeks. Now I'm going to put dots in his eyes. And every little step I'm doing is curing in between, because I don't want to mess anything up. I just didn't make all the cure signs because, come on guys, that takes time. It just does. It's a long time. And I edit these myself, so clearly I'm editing these myself. And now I'm coming in with some blue and just filling in the space around him with the blue, being as careful as I can to not get on the black, although you know, sometimes you get a little on the black, but you know, the cleanup brush is your friend. Don't be afraid to break it out if you get too crazy. And I think the blue, having him on the blue background really makes him pop. But I felt like it would be easier to fill in the blue than to fill in Pikachu. So that's the reason I did it this way. Let me know in the comment section if this is the way you would do it as well, or if you know of an even better way to do it, because I'm here to learn, guys, and I'm going to learn from you just as much as I do from anyone else, or just as much as you're going to learn from me. And I think that is the most fun part of us having this nail community together, is that we are really rocking it together. We're really doing it together. So it's super fun that way. Even the bigger creators who are, you know, more professional and working with professional companies and stuff, I feel like I'm as much a part of their communities as you are, or as hopefully one day they're part of my community. Like Selena Ryden has been over here and she's left comments. And so it just feels like one big, huge community together. And I love that. I love our nail community. I think it's way more supportive too than the makeup community. Let me know if you agree with that, or if I've seen a few toxic interactions, but mostly I think the nail community is super supportive with each other. So now this is a top coat. This nail is not super lumpy bumpy, but if you were concerned about that, a base coat on top is the way to go, because that's going to definitely smooth your nail even further. But a nice juicy top coat should suffice. This, like I said, especially with filling it in with that blue, you don't have a super lumpy bumpy nail. This is what Pikachu looks like. Now, I did do 2 other nails to go with it. And here they are. It's just Pokemon lettered across these 2 nails. No big deal. I just wanted to add a little something to go with Pikachu. Let me know what you think of everything in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for spending some time with me today. And we're going to see you Monday for some more awesome nails. Happy Pokemon Day. See you then. Bye-bye.